Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes has been around for about 10 years plus now, and over those years it has had a smorgasbord of content creators, some bolder than others. I'm looking at you, Bit Dynasty.
Hello there, my fellow Holotable heroes.
However, very rarely do we take the opportunity to go out and look and think who are actually the greatest content creators for this game, who have provided as much to the community as possible in a YouTube scenario. That's what we're going to be looking at today. I've done this twice now on stream, but both times I don't feel were particularly appropriate for a video presentation, and I thought I would do it here for a little bit of fun. We're going to be rating quite a few of the Galaxy of Heroes content creators in specific to their contributions as YouTubers, not necessarily streamers. If you disagree with any of my opinions, that's quite alright. Everybody's got an opinion, and we're all entitled to it. So let's break it down. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. I believe this list was originally made by Yotta over here. As you can see, he's got a, well, it's a yacht. Actually, I think it's just a small sailing boat. Somebody in the chat is probably going to be some sort of aficionado of maritime boats, and they're going to actually say, well, actually, Scribe, I think you'll find that's a schooner. It's really not. To me, a schooner is a small glass that isn't quite a pint that you sometimes drink when on holiday in hot countries. Or as I like to call it, a glass of disappointment, because my beer should be in pints. Okay, so we have content creators over here. I've added a few more to this list because a few more needed to be added. We've got first and foremost AP Games over here, and let's just talk about the tiering system. We've got Galactic Legend. In my opinion, there can only really be one right at the very top. We've got Epic Confrontations, which sort of aligns to our journey guide hierarchy, I guess. Legendary, Conquest, and Marquee. All right, when it comes to contributions to Galaxy of Heroes YouTubing, I would probably place AP Games up here in the legendary bracket. He has long since, of course, moved on from Galaxy of Heroes, and I like AP Games. He's a funny guy. Strangely enough, I don't think we ever did any sort of collaborations over the past, although I've chatted with him on a number of occasions. Nice bloke. Obviously, did recently start posting videos again, though I believe he has claimed that he's not actually coming back to the game, not coming back to a content creator. He started a fresh new account and is just messing around, chatting crap with people. Now, if you are looking at sort of the axes of content creators, you usually have educational and entertainment, right? AP Games is certainly on that entertainment sort of vector. He's not really there to educate you on how to do stuff. He's just sort of chatting crap, really. Funny guy, very funny guy, but that's probably where I'd place him. He was one of the biggest content creators before he left for this game. I believe he was only really second to Arnold at the time when he left. I think he was around about 30,000 subs, there or thereabouts. Now, since then, other content creators have surpassed that in pure sub count, and of course, he has disappeared and not really done any content for about a year and a bit. All the same, I appreciate the contributions that he's made to this game. Hats off to AP Games. Maybe we'll see him again in the future. Not too sure. Go check out his channel. Next up, we've got Bit Dynasty. Bit Dynasty is an absolute goat, in my opinion. I would put him up here. I would probably say, you know, it's tricky. Bit Dynasty, right? He is... If we look at that axis again of education versus entertainment, Bit Dynasty is definitely veering slightly more towards the educational side of things. He was a big proponent of helpers towards things like Galactic Challenges, things like Conquest, and the like. He's done a bit on TB, though TB content, generally speaking, just doesn't really appeal to the masses, which is fine, I guess. Not everybody is that interested in trying to get guides for TB, which you should just sort of face roll most of it until we get some difficult content again, like the original Kiadi Mundi special mission was, because that required some actual thought. So, Bit Dynasty, absolutely goated when it comes to things like Conquest guides and Galactic Challenges. Now, unfortunately for him, Galactic Challenges did get nixed by CG in replacement with Epic Error Challenges, which are not even remotely the same. There's no real strategy to an error challenge. You go in, you hit auto, and provided you have the error levels, you're going to gain some rewards. Very, very different kettle of fish. He still does really, really solid content, and now has started covering things like the Colosseum bosses. So I respect Bit massively. Very nice guy, very educational, has some of the best fleet counter guides in the game. He's my go-to. Whenever its fleet comes up, I'm like, oh, what was that video that bit Dynasty? Even when I've done my own fleet counter guides, I usually still check out his. That's where I rate it. In fact, I'm going to put him up here. I'm going to put him up there because I think he is actually that good. I love my guy Bit. Everybody should be subscribed to Bit Dynasty. This guy puts out great content. Next up, we've got Calvin Awesome. Calvin Awesome is going to have to be there, I think. Calvin, obviously, he has had real life changes in the most recent past that has kind of limited his ability to be a YouTuber. He does still stream GAC. Very much a big free-to-play player that likes to perform well in GAC, so he's very crunchy. He's been around the game for years and years and years. He's got an endgame account, doesn't spend any money, but performs very, very well in GAC. Super smart dude and good with a spreadsheet. Oftentimes his video content would be around how to hoard full double drop events and how to allocate your resources effectively. Really funny guy, really smart guy, the kind of originator of the Whose Kid Is It Anyway little mini game that a lot of us have played. But since having a child, hats off to you, hats off to you, Calvin. Since having a child, he's had to take a step back from creating content, which is completely understandable, fully support it. You know, love the guy. Huge impact overall to Galaxy of Heroes YouTube content creation. Next up, we have the one, the only. This is undisputed as far as I'm concerned. Arnold has done more for the YouTube game for Galaxy of Heroes than anybody else. Like, it's not even remotely close. The guy is magnitudes higher in terms of both viewership and raw subs than anybody else. The second highest person is still only a fraction of Arnold's size, even when it comes to live streaming, and I know we're not talking about live streaming in this video. He will have 10 times more than anybody else has on any given day, right? So Arnold's content on that educational entertainment axis, he probably veers a little bit more to the entertainment side, but has the highest level of production value out of anybody we've ever seen for this game, and he just covers everything. He covers everything. Doesn't really go too much into the nitty-gritty of, you know, crunchy numbers and how to do stuff per se, but he does do quite a lot of breakdowns, especially recently. He's sort of leaning more into that Colosseum content, putting a little bit more production value into those now, but nobody can deny what Arnold has done in terms of YouTube and content creation. Massive personality, massive amounts of production value, and great dedication to being a YouTuber for Galaxy of Heroes. So have to put him right up the top. That is uncontested, no arguments there whatsoever. Next up, we've got the Gerbil. The Gerbil, where would I put Gerbil? Now, Gerbil is a very, very interesting content creator. I believe he's taken a massive step back recently. I think he does still play the game, but he doesn't really cover content anymore. Back when he was covering content, he was really more about finding the fun in Galaxy of Heroes. He did a couple of speculation videos on things that he thought were going to come to the game in the future. Some were right, some were wrong, you know, just like everybody. I mean, I've done so many speculation videos and I'm always wrong, but it's fun and engaging content in my opinion. Now, Gerbil was really known for using Ewoks, right? I think his Ewoks are like Relic 9. His whole Ewok faction might be Relic 9 at this point. Absolutely unhinged. And I believe he got covered by Cubs fan Han. Is Cubs in this list? Cubs needs to be in this list. We need to add Cubs to this. He got covered by Cubs fan Han for using his Ewoks to beat Gas. And this was back in the day when Gas was dominant, before we had loads and loads of Galactic Legends. Really, really fun content creator. I've had him on my podcast in the past, Tribe Talks. I've done various other bits of collaborations with him. He's a nice, entertaining guy, doesn't really cover content anymore, and never really delved deep into being like a full-time content creator, as it were. Still, props to him where we can be, absolutely. Next up, we've got Glurmit, and I'll be honest, this is my own lack of interaction. I've never seen anything done by Glurmit. This list was made by Yoda. I've heard his name, and I believe he's actually Welsh, which is kind of disappointing, you know, because I'm being a Welsh content creator. I probably should know other Welsh content creators for this game, but I honestly have never seen anything from Glurmit. I don't know if he doesn't do video content anymore. You'll have to let me know in the chat. You all know Glurmit? Tell me about him. Tell me about his content. Next up, we've got Mobile Gamer or Mobile Boomer. I'm going to have to put Mobile Boomer all the way up at the top in Epic Confrontation. I'm not going to put anybody else in the Galactic Legend tier because I feel that is a solo crown of one. That's just the way that I'm approaching this tier maker. Mobile Gamer was the double act at one point, more or less, to Arnold. Those guys were head-to-head in terms of viewership and just overall impact to the game. Obviously, it was like 5-6 years ago, something like that. I think Mobile Gamer left and started covering Marvel Strike Force. I'm not sure what he's doing these days, but I still very fondly remember being a gamer of Galaxy of Heroes and not a content creator, and watching these two do collab videos all the time. You know, a lot of fun, high levels of energy, good production value, and just telling it like it is. I really, really enjoyed Mobile Gamer as a content creator, and I think nobody can take away what he has given to the community over the years. It'd be nice to go back and watch some of their old videos, truth be told. Next up, we've got Nooch Too Good, the Star Wars dad. I have to put Nooch all the way up at the top here in Epic Confrontations. This guy is the most prolific Galaxy of Heroes content creator right now. Nobody posts more content, does more live streams, and does more shorts, everything. He attacks this game from every single angle. Most of his content is geared towards the sort of early to mid game, early farming paths and that sort of thing, and he talks about how to get journey guide units unlocked, that sort of thing in the era system. He is absolutely prolific in being a content creator. He is the second largest subscribed Galaxy of Heroes content creator at the moment. I think he's broke 50,000 subs, which is even more than what Cubs Fan Han did back in his prime. And the numbers speak to themselves. He nearly gets as much viewership as Arnold on an ongoing monthly basis. I believe Nooch can hover around about 1 million views a month, and Arnold usually sits at about 1.2 million. The big difference between that differential, of course, is that Nooch posts a lot more content and streams a heck of a lot more, and that sort of elevates the number of views that he gets, and he posts shorts on a daily basis. All of these things sort of compound to give him a lot of views, a lot of exposure, whereas Arnold doesn't usually post as much and certainly doesn't stream as much because, of course, since Baby Quiggled came into Arnold's life, he has to take a step back, and he's making his own game, and he's doing all sorts of other channels at the moment. He doesn't have or hasn't had the time to be as prolific as Nooch. He still puts out a lot of content, Arnold, obviously. So again, Star Wars Dad does loads and loads of content on any number of things. Lots of times farming guides and tier lists and all that sort of thing, rating characters and things like that. Lots of things to do with roster reviews for the community and stuff like that. Nooch has been around for ages, and I don't see Nooch going anywhere anytime soon. He is going to be a mainstay and deserves his place up here in the list of content creators that has contributed the most to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Rabid Beaver. Rabid Beaver. I'm going to put Rabid Beaver up here in Conquest. This guy strikes me as more of a streamer than a YouTuber. He puts out YouTube content, but his vibe that I get from Beaver, and I've spoken to Beaver many, many times. I've joined him on his channel a couple of times, played games with him a couple of times. He's a lot of fun. But he doesn't feel like he's there to push out YouTube content. He feels like he wants to stream and maybe make content off of the streams that he makes. Nothing wrong with that, but I don't feel like he's trying to push the envelope. Still, really nice guy. Got some really cool guides. I think he's got guides on stuff like the Grand Inquisitor, how to beat his event with like sort of early level requirements and things like that. And certainly an entertaining bloke to watch. Does a lot of good fun live stream stuff as well. So I'll put him down there. I can't really put him higher because I don't feel like he contributes to that YouTube ecosystem, as it were. Swag Frog, gonna put Swag Frog down here. I don't think I once did a collab with Swag Frog, and I don't think we ever got the video out. I haven't really seen much from him in terms of content, so I don't really know. If I can't see anybody's content on YouTube, and I try to watch as much content creators as I can for this game, it's really hard for me to judge. Okay, so Tassinix. This is really tricky because Tassinix is a really clever dude. Literally a de facto GAC player, easily top 10 GAC players in the world at any given time. You could probably go into the global leaderboards right now and you'll probably see Tasnix's name up there at the top. Really clever dude, really funny guy. Puts out a lot of content, and obviously has his podcast as well that he does with, you know, people like Fatal and Sasha Aisha and Dagger and Jedi TJ and stuff like that. So he is prolific, but he's quite a niche content creator. So, I mean, for me, it's like, where do you put him? Where do you put him? He's got a lot of really educational content, but the content that he covers maybe just doesn't gain a lot of traction. So I think he does bring a lot of value, and he's a really clever guy to watch if you want to watch his GAC, if you want to watch his modding guides, all that sort of thing. He does have a lot of valuable content, but I guess it's a little bit more niche than the more generalized Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes stuff. He doesn't really cover news. He usually looks at it from a crunchy GAC player base. He's like, oh, how am I going to mod? Who should I take to high relics? How shall I build out these datacrons? What team should I set on defense and offense? Really, really clever guy to engage with and to learn from. Yeah, this guy, he's goated when it comes to that, but perhaps just the content doesn't have mass appeal, I guess is what we're saying. Next up, Trooper on Break. I know Trooper on Break. I speak to him quite a lot. He's definitely a streamer. I think he streams like every day, every single day, and he tries to cover news when it drops. But I think he's just inconsistent when it comes to creating YouTube videos, and it doesn't get a lot of traction because he doesn't have targeted thumbnails and titles to his videos that will really draw people in. I'm sure he could do more and perform better, just needs a bit of time learning the game and just to get the content out there. Go give his channel a watch, go give him a subscribe, help him out, help people grow. Next up, it's Urzatron. I am biased. I'll have to say I am biased. I have to put Urzatron up at the top. When he was covering this game, Urzatron, basically, if you are an old school, an OG watcher of Galaxy of Heroes content, then you will know one of the recurring shows for this game was called Rogue Actions. Urz invented Rogue Actions. That was his show, all right? And that was basically kind of like a podcast / talk show that covers all the latest stuff for Galaxy of Heroes, throws a bit of whimsy in there, throws a bit of fun. But Urz really set GAC on the map for live streaming in this game. And I know this is not about live streaming, but I can't deny what he has given to the community. His live streams were absolutely unhinged, off the chain, and he really set that entertainment bar incredibly, incredibly high. Also, used to post quite prolifically about a lot of things. Now, obviously, he's fallen out of love with the game a long time ago now, hasn't contributed in a long time, so I can't really place him any higher than this. I'd love to have him high. Absolutely one-of-one content creator, in my opinion. Still enjoy catching his live streams when I can, but he streams a little bit too late for me. And obviously, it's not even Galaxy of Heroes that he covers anymore. He does wrestling content, I want to say, but what he gave to the game was huge. Next up, we got Vexatron. I'm going to have to put Vex up here at the top. Vexatron, I've said this a number of times, he is the rising star of Galaxy of Heroes content creators. This guy's going to take over the world. With enough time, enough effort, enough energy, enough focus, Vexatron can easily just climb up all the way up there with the likes of Nooch, okay? He is incredibly handsome, incredibly clever, really good GAC player, and he does the right sort of thing when it comes to content. He's covering the bits of the game that need covering. He's covering things like Conquest, Colosseum, covering GAC. He's covering news drops. He's doing all the right things that a content creator has to do for Galaxy of Heroes, and he's being consistent about it. This guy is going places 100%. He's already grown massively over the last year. Soon enough, he'll be overtaking me in terms of viewership and subs. I fully expect that to happen. Fully expect it. If you're not already watching Vexatron, go watch Vex. Great content creator. Next up, we got Xaereth Prevails. This one's tricky. I'm going to put Xaereth just above Vexatron, even though I believe Vexatron right now gets more traction than Xaereth in terms of pure viewership in the game. I think that Xaereth, over the tenure of his days being a content creator for this game, has provided more to the community. But that's just because it's a numbers game, right? He's been doing this for a lot longer. What can I say about Xaereth? Xaereth, super smart, crunchy GAC player, very dry humor, funny bloke, doesn't really do guides per se, more likes to cover things like what are the characters that you should be focusing on, who should you be farming. Used to be like the go-to guy for GAC counters. That's kind of his bread and butter, and over the years he's produced a lot of content covering that. Really like the guy. I never get to watch his live streams because it's like 4 a.m. my time. Had him on my own Tribe Talks podcast a couple of times. He's just a nice bloke, does a lot of content, and has done a lot for this game. So big shout out to Xaereth. He always does prevail. Next up, Yoda. I'm sorry, Yoda. I'm going to put you over here. Yoda is a moderator for Arnold, and I believe he does recuts of some of Arnold's stuff and posts funny meme videos, basically. I wouldn't really call that Galaxy of Heroes content creation, more of an Arnold content creator than anything. And he created this list, so you're on the list, Yoda. Congratulations. All right, so RSG. I would put RSG. Now, RSG and Ranger, I'm a good friend of Ranger. I really am. I love Ranger. I've known him for years. He gave me my first start when I was a content creator starting out all those years ago. First appeared on his show, stayed up until like 2 a.m. to go on his Wednesday night podcast. And it got a load of eyes on my channel because he's been around for ages. RSG has been around as long as this game has been a thing. However, I will say that RSG is no longer a YouTuber in the sense of they don't really put out YouTube videos. They do live streams, and that's fine. And Ranger knows everybody. He's always in touch with the devs. He appears on everybody's live streams. He hosts a lot of shows. They raise amazing amount of money for charity. It's incredible how much money that these guys have raised for charity. It's like unfathomable. Over 6 figures that these guys have raised to try and support cancer research and stuff like that. Absolutely amazing group of people. Absolutely 100% deserves to be on this list. However, they haven't done Galaxy of Heroes content from a YouTube perspective in a very, very long time. I think most of what they've got right now is like AI music to play in the background of your GAC. And if that's your thing, that's absolutely fine. They also do a lot of other things like live streaming for D&D and stuff like that. But in terms of actual YouTubing, they haven't done anything for many, many years. I mean, potentially I could say put them up here, something like that, because they did used to do a lot of guides over the years, right? They used to put out a lot of stuff like how to beat gas. That was back when Finn had more time on his hands and was able to do various guides and stuff like that. I can't deny the impact that they've had to the ecosystem. They've got one of the best communities. But if I was looking at it from a charity and fundraising, I'd have to throw them up to the top. If I was looking at it from a community perspective and live stream perspective and stuff like that, I would have to put them up at the top. But I'm just looking at this from the perspective of YouTubers. So I'll put them around about here. Next up, we've got my boy Caracal. This is hard to say. I'd probably go down here. I like Caracal. I've had him on my live streams a couple of times. Another fantastic bald individual. Definitely a streamer more than a content creator. I don't think I've seen a single video of Caracal outside of memeing. So maybe he can do something at some point. I'm not sure. Caracal, hit me up, bro. What are you doing these days? Jack One Best. Jack One Best has done content, has done YouTube content, and does do live streams. Again, I don't think he has massive reach. He certainly put out a few videos that has gained some traction over the years, but maybe not massively consistent. Fat Phil, all the way down at the bottom here at Marquee tier. Fat Phil, you suck. Why is your Wampa not Relic 10? No more to say about Fat Phil. Eggnods. I put Eggnods up here. Eggnods is a long-standing member of this community. He is posting content far more regularly now, but he started off as, King of the Trolls. He was King of Reddit. King of Reddit. Yeah, so Eggnods lived on Reddit and would openly berate ever becoming a content creator himself, and now he's there. He's made it. He is a content creator himself now. So I guess he's become the very thing that he loathes. No, I have a lot of fun with Eggnods, a lot of back and forth. I like the guy. He's a funny bloke. He puts out content. He tries to cover. He generally looks at pack values more than anything else. Tries to ascertain how much value individual paid for packs have and whether they are worth buying or not. So if you are looking for that, maybe if you're a light spender or stuff like that, Eggnods does have valuable content for you in that respect. And he's done a lot of things about, looking into the drop rates of stuff like Cantina and the new Cantina nodes and stuff like that for signal data. So does put out valuable content, a little bit niche, but worth watching. Skelterix. Skelterix is a tricky customer. Skelterix obviously left the game many years ago now. However, in his heyday, he was the go-to guy for raid content. He had some amazing content and really good production value. I believe he was French. He never used to do his voice, so it was all sort of ambient music and text on the screen, but had some of the best guides out there for stuff like the Heroic Sith Raid and all that sort of good business. Long since moved on from the game, obviously. But he had some great content. It's a shame that he's left. I don't know what he's covering anymore, if he's doing any sort of YouTube anymore, but he was a real goat. Real goat. Next we got Sunjita. I'm going to have to put Sunjita up here as well. Sunjita has been around the game for a very long time. Doesn't do live streams at all. I believe all of his content is GAC focused. Well, mostly GAC focused and Territory War focused. One of the very few content creators out there that does cover Territory War. He's also, I believe, a permanent free-to-play player, and he does well in Kyber 1. So definitely a very smart guy, definitely very competitive, definitely worth watching. He's a good guy, Sunjita. I've had him on my chat show as well. A lot of fun to be around. Now, before we get onto me, we need to get Cubs. Okay, finally, we have got Cubs fan Han. I'm going to have to put Cubs probably... Oh, I mean, it's hard to say, really. It's hard to say. This is really tricky about whether or not I place Cubs above Nooch, because Cubs in his day was massive. Was massive. You know, the trifecta used to be sort of Arnold, Mobile Gamer, Cubs. There are obviously many other content creators that were around, like Warrior, for example. Warrior's stopped playing a long time ago now as well, I believe. Definitely long since stopped doing content creation. But Cubs was all the way up there, a really strong competitor to people like Arnold, right? Obviously, he was definitely a little bit more on the entertainment side rather than educational, but he did cover a bit of everything. Used to do those tournament videos, loads and loads of content, loads of really good live streams, used to play music and sing and stuff like that on the fly, but has moved on into a career of his own choosing. I believe he is doing counseling or support or something like that. I'm not entirely certain, but, you know, he was an OG. Cubs fan Han was an OG of this game and definitely deserves to be really high up on this list. It's hard to say whether or not he's given more to the community than what Nooch has, because Nooch has just been absolutely slaying it. So that's pretty much it, and there is now me. Now, it's really hard for me to be objective about myself, so I would have to let you guys tell me where you think I'd be. Like, maybe I deserve to be here. I mean, let's be real. I'd have to at least be higher than Fat Phil. In all honesty, if I was trying to be objective about this, I would probably place myself there. And let me put forward my argument. I'm not saying that what I've provided to the community necessarily has been better than Xaereth or Vex. I've done a lot of content over the years. I've done over 2,000 videos. I've got the third highest number of subscribers for Galaxy of Heroes content creators. The only people that have got more subs than me right now are Nooch and Arnold, and I get comparable views. You know, on a good month, I might have about 800,000 views, and I tend to do some market research to see how much my peers are getting in terms of raw viewership, and I'm almost always higher than most people. That's why I would say that I think I should be here, roughly. I think I should be here roughly at this point in time. But don't let me tell you guys. How about you tell me? Let me know what you think of this list. I'll leave a link to it in the description down below. Why don't you guys show me your list, where you would place everybody, and maybe ping it in my Discord and we can all have a chat about it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this was a fun, different video for us to do today. Hope you enjoyed it at home, a little trip down memory lane, looking at some old content creators of this game. I will see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.